All right, fine. I'll be a gracious host. How you doing?
Little Mermaid is the scariest Disney movie by far, though.
Why the hell is Ace Blade in your Kickstarter?
Some comics. I'm getting controversial today. We're gonna get controversial today with.
My proudest moment is this interview and being able to talk to you two.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Taurus Comics in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions respectfully brings to you the 118th episode of the Four Tales podcast. I am your host, Kyron Silva from Taurus Comics. Across the way is not Danny J. Quick, but the fabulous cosplayer, Fee Soleil. And together we are your two blurred creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We are live on the Age Geekdom Network via Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you're listening, watching us live, thank you for your support. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review this podcast because all your positive reviews and interactions help us reach a bigger audience. Fee!
Kyron, hi! I know, I'm not Danny, but I have some shoes to fill. It's fine. You know, I'm excited to be here, and it has just been amazing. I've been waiting for this opportunity. It's been so cool to have a chance, and I'm just over the moon.
Well, you already do better than Danny. Just right off the bat, you're already better than Danny, so thank you.
Too kind.
For anybody that's wondering, Danny is on vacation. I think we mentioned this in our last episode that he was not going to be here today. And I did say that we might test out some other guests because I might replace Danny in the future because he's annoying me. So this is our first replacement guest for now. And it's already a better vibe right now. It really is. It just
Sorry.
All love to Danny. But
I feel like I signed into something I didn't know. I should have read the fine print. I didn't know.
You also did read the fine print that said you do not get paid, right? So for anybody that doesn't know you, Fee, tell our audience that maybe isn't used to you, maybe doesn't watch you on 5-Star Fridays, which they should every other Friday starting next Friday. But tell everybody who you are, what you do, and why we should like you.
Oh, right. Well, I guess that's a great proposition. Hi, everyone. My name is Feline Soleil, or Fee Soleil, either one, or Fee, whichever you prefer, whichever one is easier. I am a cosplayer at Freestyle Comics. I cosplay Vigilance. That was made by Michael Watson. And I do vlogs and other things about that experience on my YouTube channel. So I just like being a down-to-earth person who just enjoys doing things that make my inner child happy. So that's a little bit about me.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you on. This is going to be a great show today. And hopefully you brought your questions, because you're not a comic creator, right? You haven't created your own comic yet.
I just bring the comic creations to life.
Okay. But someday I have a feeling Freestyle Comics will be getting with you to create something. It just something tells me that's going to come down the line.
Maybe the Epic Universe might have something in store for me. We'll see.
All right. Well, let's bring our actual guest on, not our guest host, but our actual guest on today. He is an amazing writer, known for plenty of projects. I can't even actually list all the projects this man has done because we'd be here the entire 45 minutes of our show. But you do know him from Xenoscope. You do know him from Kickstarter. He is the fantastic Pat Shand.
How you doing?
I'm all right. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I just noticed that shirt is nice, actually.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It gives Hello Starshine vibes. Like, I just love it. The flowers and everything is just very, very fun. I like it.
Thanks. You know, it's summertime. I want to get the vibes right.
Wait, what does summertime for you mean, like temperature-wise?
All right. So summertime for me is where I live in New York, spring lasts about 2 weeks. So when you start going outside and you're like, God damn, summertime. You know?
All right. Fair enough. Well, thank you for being on. I've wanted to have you on for a while, more to pick your brain and to talk to you, because I've caught you with Travis on his show a couple of times. I follow you on Twitter, and you're always a wealth of knowledge, so thank you for being on. I'm going to do the same thing I did for Fee, though. let everybody know who you are and why we should be maybe paying attention to you.
All right. So I'm a writer. I run the publisher Space Between Entertainment. I'm on Kickstarter a lot, so I'm doing projects through there. I've worked for Zenescope for years. I used to be staff writer there. I've written about 300 comics or so for them. Robin Hood, Van Helsing, their Grim Fairy Tales line, all those. I had a long run on Charmed, which continues the CBS TV series. I've worked with other publishers like Boom, Avatar, IDW. That was my first ever gig. Playwright as well. But right now, I'm largely focusing on my own company. We do Space Between Entertainment is the overall company, and we also have our adult imprint Tiki Comics. Just launched a new imprint with Ralph Tedesco called Wise Guys. Uh, so just a bunch of comics. I have a podcast as well, and some short media, some vlog. So I'm trying to do everything. Trying to do the new media stuff as well as the publishing. But yeah, it's me.
All right. I mean, that's a lot.
If I had a
just-
hat, I would tip it to you. My goodness.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
So how are you able to do all these things? I mean, that's a lot of work that you've done in a relatively short amount of time. I think it's like 10 years, 11 years.
Yeah, for me, it's been first gig
Oh,
was
13.
2011, so it's been about 13 years now. But the truth is that I've been writing for my whole life. You know, I've always been trying to make this happen. It's just that when it actually happened, I was like, all right, there's no slowing down. I'm going to use each gig as a stepping stone to get the next gig, and that to some extent worked. And now I'm doing a lot of my own things. So now that I'm making the calls on what we publish, what artists we hire, sometimes I work with co-writers too that we'll hire. Now that the ball is in my court, I'm trying to make sure that we're active. I feel very lucky to have readers, so I want to make sure that I'm always delivering great stuff to them.
I love that. Play the field, and then you make a field of your own.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I couldn't have seen us becoming what we are now. I always when I first started to write, I always pictured myself writing for other people, other publishers, and honestly doing a lot more in the prose area, novels and stuff, short stories. And I'll get back to that. I did some licensed ones for a while, some Marvel stuff, but the truth is that when I saw what Kickstarter was and how it could help creators sort of free themselves from the cycle of having to knock on doors all the time. Can I have this gig? Can I do this? Can I do that? I got really excited, and now Kickstarter is. I still do the other stuff, but Kickstarter is the primary focus of my marketing, of my publishing, launches, all that.
I mean, you've been very successful with Kickstarter over the past 7 years. I mean, not to put your finances out there with it, but you've been extremely successful than most people have. Do you remember at what point you realized this is a platform that could be valuable for me as a creator compared to going through Zenescope or Marvel or anything like that?
Yeah, sure, for sure. There was the point where I saw what it could be, but it took years for me to actually hop onto it. Actually, back in 2012, Zenescope did the Grim Fairy Tales animated series Kickstarter, and that was my first time seeing a publisher use it, and their numbers were incredible. I mean, you compare back then to now, and even back then, the numbers would be amazing if they happen now as is. Great Kickstarter, and I was very impressed. And in the years following, I saw creators, both big and small, even corporations. I mean, back then, I don't know if it was CBS or Fox, but whoever had Veronica Mars had the creator of the TV series take it on Kickstarter and build enough funds to greenlight a movie. So back then I saw what it could be. I saw creators using it for years, but it was my first one that I realized that I have something here that I have to really lean into. I did Destiny New York Volume 1 on Kickstarter in September 2016. And I was, it wasn't the easiest campaign. The goal was 20,000, which is crazy for a first time launch. Absolutely insane choice on my part. But I believed in the book, and we hit goal just about. We got the 21 and change. And in the years that have followed, it's been uh, seven, it's been 8 years now. It's been almost 8 years, and we have 6 large volumes of Destiny New York. We're working on 7 now. We have multiple spin-offs, big old art book. So I saw what worked, and my first thought was, all right, so now I can do this series. But when I started doing that, I was thinking, at Zenoscope, I was writing 8 different series a month at some points, So I thought, I'm not going to just do this one. So I launched Destiny. As we were working on that, I did an all ages book called Clonsters with Amy Shand. And from that point on, my thought was, all right, we'll at least do one other series in between each volume of Destiny New York. And now, I think we're on pace to do 38 Kickstarters this year. So we went from one, like just alternating between Destiny and these other series to just creating a full publishing slate.
Wow. Well, 38.
Yeah, how do you juggle all that? I mean, that's a lot of work, even for doing one Kickstarter for most people is just a lot of work. But how do you juggle all that?
It's a lot of work. I have a team that has helped me sort of remove some of the stuff that makes a Kickstarter completely time consuming for me. So, for example, before March of last year, every book that went out, from Kickstarter to my Etsy store, was packed with my hands. I packed all of them. But now I brought on a team of people that I grew up with. We're really a big family. My team. I host shifts every week, about 3 or 4 shifts to pack. So the pack them all. To this point, I'm still the one who is labeling the packages and sending the confirmations to the backers, so I know who's backing me, so I can keep track of the names. I actually was training Amy to do that last week. So the more that I can kind of pull back and have other people at least able to do my side, like the admin stuff, the more clear-headed I'll be able to be on the creative side and the more global business decision side, because the truth is that I still am probably on the ground more than I should be, and it takes a lot of time, and every day is pretty much a I'll look at everything I have to do, and I'll be able to pick and choose what fits into that day. And because I'm not only a business person, I'm also an artist, a creator. I have to also feel the vibe, and there are some days that feel like I will be able to perform best at a series that I don't really need pages for yet. But I'll sometimes make that call, where I'll make the right call for the book, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is still that when a reader buys my work, they want they should be getting the best possible product. So as crazy as the business side has gotten, I have to see myself first as a creator. So I always lean into my creative impulses as far as that goes. It doesn't always make for the most sound business decision, because sometimes I'll have to push a book because I would have expected to get pages out for honestly, right now, Smoke Weed See the Future is a series that is a spinoff of Destiny New York that was going to go on Kickstarter this year, but because I keep pushing it to save it for days that are going to feel right to write it, I had to push it a bit longer than I expected. So I'm running a business, thankfully successfully, but very much the engine driving it is still a writer's mind.
I saw that spinoff and I was like, that made me so curious. I was like, you are going to launch that like on 420, right?
Oh, you know what's funny? We actually we launched volume 1 on 420. Yeah, it was
Nice.
I think 420, maybe 2020 or 2021.
Nice.
Yeah, we had to do it. Had to do
I
it.
was like, I love details like that. I'm glad that it worked out.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, in my research with you, I've noticed that you worked for, like you mentioned, Marvel, DC, Zenescope. I think even one point I read something about you doing Underdog.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
I'm going to ask about how you got into that also, but how do you approach that writing for such a wide variety of characters just to make sure that everything sounds correct and authentic?
Right. It's a challenge for sure. It used to almost not be though, because when my writing slate uh, was not based on my Kickstarter stuff and was just freelance stuff, I largely had a clear slate. When I started to research for Charmed, I was able to just watch the whole series and just take copious notes, just 3 full notebooks full of notes about the mythology, how the characters speak, little details to make sure that I didn't contradict anything. Um, but when I'm writing so much now, taking on a book like that from somebody else would be a different story. Like, say, for example, TV show. Right now, if I took on, say, Buffy the Vampire Slayer through Boom Studios, that one would be fine because I've watched the show a million times. But if I were to take on, say, something like, a brand new license that is a few seasons deep, but I haven't watched it yet, that would be a different answer now than it would back then. I would have to look on my slate and see what I could clear and if it was going to even be possible. Because I take what you said very seriously. I want the voice to be, if it's an established voice, I want there to be continuity between what they did and what I'm doing. I'm going to do my own thing in some ways, in that I want to tell a story that my audience will enjoy, even if they haven't read or watched the original content. But for those who did watch the original, I have to make sure that I maintain what they loved about that original. So I take that very seriously, and the answer is that I assess these projects, and if I'm not the right person to do it, I'll know pretty early on. But as far as how I do it, it's a lot of reading or watching, if it's TV, studying, breaking down speech patterns, and on something like Zenescope, where Zenescope, they have an expansive cast of characters, and it's all largely established characters because they existed before I was there, and there's a time where I was writing a lot of their books, so I was really entrenched. But now, for example, my one book at Zenescope that's consistent is Van Helsing. So they'll sometimes tell me that I'm going to have a issue where it crosses over with, say, the Gretel character, who I haven't read before. So I'll just ask for everything Gretel, and I'll read it, and I'll be able to glean who she is from those books. But that's because I'm so familiar with their universe. If I were to dive into the Zenescope now, the studying would be absolutely immense because I'm completionist in how I do things. I would be reading everything, and that wouldn't be the best move as far as my schedule goes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming when you ask them for everything, like you said, Gretel, I'm assuming you're getting PDFs and not floppies of everything, right?
Yes. Now, back then, different story. Back then, I got a lot of PDFs to start with, but I remember it was June or maybe even May 2012, and it was a month before I was going to go exclusive at Zenescope and be staff writer officially. But I had gotten the Robin Hood gig, so whatever month it was, Wizard World Philly back then, I went to the con and I was talking to Ralph Tedesco, and he goes, Pat, take everything, take every trade. So I went to the table and I picked up every trade that they had, and I still have them on my shelf over there, my Zenescope shelf. I read the books that way. I started digitally, but I finished and read most of the series through trade, analog.
Nothing wrong with that. I still enjoy flipping through my floppies.
Oh
You know, it's how we grew up with comics. It's what we enjoy.
yeah. What I'll do now is for my own stuff, like I obviously have all my books, but just for the speed of it, I do PDF now. So, for example, if I'm going to write a second issue of something, I will read it all on the computer because it'll take 25 minutes. But for a graphic novel, still an involved read, I'll push to go for the trade.
Okay. Let me see here. Well, Fee, did you have a question? I don't want to step on your toes or anything.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just taking that in. It's just amazing. Just wow. Just even starting with like all of that. I know a lot of questions with that. I know congratulations with the recent Kickstarter for Amorini. Am I saying that correct?
Oh yeah.
Yes, congratulations to that. Amateur Cupid issue number 2 in 1. And I thought that was truly incredible. I do have questions for that later in more detail. But you wrote this with Valerina Delgado. What was the motive with that? What kind of inspired that kind of? Did it just kind of come together, or how did you get the inspiration of this good-hearted Cupid that wanted to sell love to mortals? I really love that.
For that one actually came out of conversation with my team. Last year, it was probably about February of last year or March. I got a call that my series Destiny New York was going to be developed for TV by Sony Pictures, and from that call, my agent started to bring up the idea that it was a bit that Hollywood might see it in a bit of a strange light, that on the same account on Kickstarter where I launched Destiny New York, we have our erotica. And at that point, the erotica was a graphic novel trilogy. It was Thirsty and Cheeky, and we were about to launch Steamy. And now I already have the idea of doing an adult focus imprint, and I had the name Cheeky Comics. My plan was to launch it at the end of the year or even 2024. And when I got the complaint that the company or whoever represents the IP might not have liked the idea of people searching who created it, Pat Shan, let me see what's on this Kickstarter. If it's Destiny New York, no, it's Steamy. That they might not like that. So I instead of launching the imprint later on that year or the next year, I was like, all right, so they want the erotica on a different account. Boom, let's do that. Let's do it now, actually. So a month after that, I launched Cheeky Comics through a different account. I brought in a friend of mine who is now on my team, Steve J, to run editorial on the account, run the Kickstarters. And Shannon Lee, who is the editor-in-chief of my whole company, so she does all the mainline stuff. I met with Steve and Shannon, and I developed our first slate. And I had 2 ideas. I was like, all right, so we want to give people who liked the first trilogy, Thirsty, Cheeky, Steamy, we want to give them something to continue with, so we'll spin off our character Penn in our Only Friends with Penn book. Boom, that's 1. 2, I've had an idea for a drama at a strip club since I was like 19 years old. Boom, Private Dance. We're doing that too. 3, my direction was we should do a fantasy book. And I had 2 different ideas. And we just kept talking it through. And we got to the point of wanting to do mythology. So, I've done a lot of Greek mythology through Zenoscope with Godstorm and all that stuff. So with this, I wanted to focus on something that was within the mythology, but not do like, the Greek gods and goddesses. So we chose Cupid, and then we developed that into this company where multiple Cupids work, and I wanted this one to be kind of funny, so we had a Cupid who is kind of bad at her job, and she is a lot more interested in relations with the mortals than she is helping them fall in love. So the idea of this Cupid girl who just stumbles through her work and gets into these misadventures was fun and appealing to us. So yeah, we wanted to test that one out. It's gone well so far. Yeah.
I love that. That is so cool. I mean, I think I've always been a fan of Greek mythology. Oopsie. But I will say that it is really cool to kind of take this cool adventure with Cupid. So I really was just excited to ask you that. So thank you. That's awesome.
Now, you guys, I don't want to say you guys, but there's a book right now on Kickstarter for Wise Guys. That's currently what's running, right?
So yes and no. The Kickstarter is over, but thanks to late pledges, we still have late pledges open for Wise Guys and Amarini. It's a new thing that we're kind of figuring out. It's been interesting to see how it works. But the next launch is going to be Private Dance number 3. Is launching on Monday.
And is that what the image was you sent us? Is that what this is?
Yes, correct.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. And when can we expect that to come out?
That's going to launch on Kickstarter Monday the 17th at 10 a.m. Eastern, and it will be delivered during the summer.
Goodness, just on the go. I just commend your work ethic. It's absolutely incredible. Whoopsie.
Oh,
I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, with the Kickstarters, on the Cheeky account, where we have usually a 3-day span where we're not live. So, 2.5 days. We'll end a campaign on a Friday at 11, and then we'll launch the next one Monday at 10 a.m.
Got you. That's incredible because you just got fully funded yesterday for Amarini, where it just completely closed officially. That's incredible.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
I think that also goes to what you're mentioning. You have a team now that helps you organize all these things, helps you put things together. So, I mean, it's great having a team, honestly, is what you're trying to tell us. That without a team, you can't really do a lot of this on your own.
It's true. Yeah, I'm currently working on pushing into Whatnot and Patreon. So today in our team WhatsApp, I was kind of saying who's going to be working on what. Going to have Anthony Stokes running the Whatnot for us, and I'm going to have probably Chris Halton, who is the group editor of our next imprint coming up called Dark Veil. He'll do a lot of Patreon work. But it's also, I go into these ventures, especially Patreon. Patreon is content focused. So I know when we do that, it's going to be a lot more work for me too, So as we take on these ventures, as much as I'm going to delegate to the team, a lot of the upfront stuff is going to be, coming down to me as well again.
The timing was so great. I love that. That was incredible.
For our listening audience, that was
answer. It was like, this is my time to shine.
Pat has a feline that just walked across the screen. It was hilarious.
It is Chi-Chi.
That is incredible.
All right. Well, you know what? This might be a good time for us to go to the favorite part of most people of this watch this, which is well, I guess we can't call it quick takes.
Really? I was like, I could. What? Do I need to change the name?
Well, I know. I mean, we're not.
Outcry. You see how upset they sound?
Quick takes is Danny because his last name is Danny. So we're gonna have to go. That's copyrighted. So we'll have to we'll keep it hot takes. So we're gonna do hot takes with B and Pat.
Okay.
Quick takes.
I love that.
I just realized that image looked very bad. His hand placement was really bad on that image.
I didn't even see it.
That was such a wonderful surprise.
So for anybody that hasn't watched our show before, normally Quick Takes is with Danny. He has a rapid fire question segment where he gives 45 seconds to our guest to answer questions. These are questions that, in this case, B has created, scouring your your social media.
Cool.
Some of them could be personal, some not. I don't know. Actually, I haven't really read these. But I'm gonna hand it over to Fee, and she's gonna take over from there.
Do
Well,
it.
thank you. I'm so excited for this opportunity to do hot takes. I won't do quick takes because, of course, it's copyrighted, and I don't got time for that. We're not dealing with that. So, for the very first one, I just want to say I love the branding. Just the way you've been able to do image is absolutely incredible. And of course, like you said, the sister brands of Cheeky Comics. Seeing the love for alliteration, I just had a question. Was there a runner-up name that still kind of visits you every now and then that you still think about?
For Amarini or Cheeky?
For Cheeky Comics.
A runner-up name. No, because it was inspired by the success of Cheeky, the actual graphic novel. That one was the one that made me realize, oh, we could do this outside of just the main line. Cheeky was so successful that I wanted to dedicate the imprint to that. As soon as I thought Cheeky Comics, I just scoured the internet looking for something like it to make sure that I was doing it, that I was the guy, and there's nothing else. So, thankfully, no, because the actual name Space Between Entertainment, that was hard fought. That one was difficult to figure out.
Cool. Well, yeah, no, I love it. I love alliterations, and I can definitely say cheeky is just the perfect word for that. So thank you. Keeping it cheeky, I noticed your fundraising goal for your recent one of Amarini was a specific fund goal number. Was this intentionally done, or is this the norm of what you guys do in Cheeky Comics?
That's the norm. Yeah, every campaign that is a new book is set to 69,000. No, 6,900. So
like if you know, you know.
exactly. Yeah. If we do say like we'll do a campaign for exclusive covers for a convention that we're gonna do Exotica this year. After the conventions, I'll give backers a chance to pledge to those comics through a short campaign. That one I'm not gonna set that high, but all the other ones that are a brand new idea, we're going to set to 6,900.
All right. Well, good job for keeping it there before the timer too. That's impressive because keeping the cheeky fun very quick in under 45 seconds. So commend you there. Thanks. So in one of your recent newsletters, I was reading, it said that 4 books is kind of like the sweet spot when it comes to persuading a publisher to side for you. How many times would you say you actually tried to win the lottery when it came to first starting out? Or was it something where you just was really ambitious and went from it and you kind of learned from it there?
As far as shooting my shot with a publisher?
Yes.
Oh, so much. My my inbox, my sent box is still full of emails that have never been replied to, will never be replied to. Yeah, I try with everybody. Back then, I was just looking at every site, seeing the submission guidelines, and I didn't know at that point that truly the best way to make a connection with a publisher is to be at events and to make personal connections. Like the publisher that I've worked with on the creator-owned side is Black Mask Studios, and that came out of me hanging out with Matt Pizzolo, and then one day he DM'd me and said, "What you got?"
I love that. Nice little buzzer beater there too as well. So great job. 3 for 3. Thanks. For this one, speaking of what you were just saying, you see, I kind of stayed on the more cheekier side of things, no pun intended. But thirsty, cheeky, and steamy, all of these can be considered things for an excitement or euphoric experience. Somehow this almost became a roadblock. Can you tell us exactly how it became the opposite and how it almost was?
Yes. So the roadblock would have been, that Hollywood doesn't like, Hollywood's always a decade behind other art fields. They are looking to comics, music to see how things are going. And things are going in a sex positive direction, and Hollywood has no idea right now. So it was almost a roadblock as far as those opportunities go. But as far as becoming successful, I think that Kickstarter creators do well when they tap into a market that is not being served by the mainstream comics industry. And in prose, romance is the top genre. In comics, it's superheroes. There's little to no romance. So Kickstarter is where I take that stuff.
Incredible. love that. That's incredible. Even got the quick little spin of the little cameo of Danny Danny Quick right there for a second. And so, lastly, of course, I still had to stay true to this one because Danny would do questions in honor of the show Top 5 with Morgan and Javon. And of course, since I've been on that show a couple of times, I want to make sure I kept that same cadence, kind of similar how you said you want to honor the style of something, even if it's carried on. I want to make sure I honored that. So I want to say I was doing a little research on your page, and so I saw that you have some experience with sipping some beverages with some questionable names, I've heard. So if you could give me the top 5 questionable names of drinks you've had and a little bit about the experiences of them, that would be just perfectly fine.
Oh boy, oh boy. I'm not gonna remember 5, but I do know that at that particular coffee shop, I was with Matt Pizzolo and Joe Corallo, and there was beverages named over probably no longer acceptable terms for Inuits and for the Romani. So we were noticing some strange terms on the menu there, but those were the 2 that stood out to me for sure. The rest probably all in the clear. The one I had was called Winter.
Can you describe that one? The winker you said?
Yeah, I think it was mint and vanilla.
Nice. How did I do? Did I do okay for the top 5?
That was perfect. That was perfect. But wait, you gotta give us your endorsement. Who is promoting top 5 or the quick hot takes? Sorry, hot takes for this week. You gotta figure out somebody that's promoting it.
Me?
No, me.
Who's promoting hot
Yeah,
takes?
who was this week's hot takes brought to us by?
The
Yeah.
5 Tales podcast?
Oh, you gotta make all right. We're gonna say oh wait, I got it. This week's hot takes are brought to us by Earth Cows of Mass Destruction. Go check out their thing because I will be doing the artwork for it in the near future. So go check it out when I produce it. So go.
Got it. I went to a cold sweat and panic. Wait, I missed this one thing.
I know it's okay. You did fabulous. Thank you for that, Pat. Thank you for being on our show. You also did great. I gotta ask, so what's the cat's name?
That was Chi-Chi. And who you've been hearing yelling in the background is Hoyt. So I have Chi-Chi, Hoyt, Neil, and Odo.
Oh,
That is a lot.
Oh yeah. Hey, there's
there you
oh.
yeah,
I was like, oh. She rose above your shoulder. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Morning time is probably the devil in the shoulder. He's very food driven, so he's gonna be relentless until he eats.
All right. Well, we're not gonna take any more of your time. We appreciate you being on.
Yeah, of course.
We do want to make sure everybody checks you out and checks out your work. So where can people follow you on social media in the future?
Sure. I'm at Pat Shand pretty much everywhere. And my website, you can access it through spacebetweenentertainment.com, patshand.com, or cheekycomics.com. They all go to the same website. That's going to put all of our Kickstarter campaigns in one area, social media. You can access our vlog that way as well. But also, if you're on Google, just type my name in and I'll be there.
Nice.
Thank you. B, where can people check you out and follow you?
I am Feeling Soleil at all platforms. And of course, I'm the most active on YouTube, but of course, I'm everywhere else as well. But I'd be happy to find you. You'll see me probably like this or in a white and red suit as Vigilance as well at different shows.
And you can check me out and all my work at tauruscomics.com. You can find me on all social platforms at Taurus Comics. And this is your first time checking out the Four Tales podcast, you can go to our website, fourtalespodcast.com. That's number 4, TALES podcast.com. You can listen to our previous episodes. You can maybe buy us a coffee, buy some merchandise, support us anyway. But please check us out. But please also come back to the Age of the Geekdom Network on Friday, where you can check out 5-Star Fridays, where you can see Fee along with Tony and Brian and Fish. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot Uncle Fish. But until next time, I know he's going to kill me. But until next time, everybody, please take care of yourselves. Sayonara and goodbye.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.